Hello everyone, this is Vimeet and I own a Swift manual 3-door. This is petrol engine 2011 model. I think my car's input shaft bearing of the gearbox is gone. I mean it's broken, that's why the input shaft bearing is making some sort of growling noise. And how do I know this? You see this clutch? When I press the clutch, the sound just goes away. The sound just goes away. The car is right now in neutral, yeah. And when I remove my foot from the clutch pedal, see, the growling sound comes back. There are three sort of sounds that can come from your gearbox. There is this one. I can also help you hear the sound by keeping the bonnet on. When I get the bonnet on, yeah, you see the sound. You hear the sound, this growling sound coming from the gearbox. And this comes when the gearbox is, this sound is only evident when the gearbox input shaft bearing is gone. We can expect this from this model because the gearbox in this model is a Hungarian gearbox model, Hungarian gearbox. The Indian Swifts have a gearbox which comes from which the bearing of those gearbox either comes from Japan or India. I'm not sure, but the bearing on this car comes from Hungary. I don't know. This is how the quality is. Let's see. But yeah, we'll have to get this repaired somehow. So how do I know that this is the input shaft bearing? Yeah. How do I know that this is the input shaft bearing that's causing the sound from the gearbox? The input shaft, whenever you whenever you engage the clutch, whenever you remove your foot from the clutch pedal and engage the clutch back to the engine, the input shaft bearing is the first. The input shaft is the first thing that gets in contact with the clutch. Yeah, and yeah, so the input shaft, when it gets in contact with the clutch, it spins with the flywheel's RPM, and there are three bearings that can cause weird sounds. The first one is clutch release bearing. So this is a sound. The clutch release bearing produces a weird sort of sound whenever you press the clutch pedal, because that's when the throw bearing or the release bearing pushes the clutch, presses the clutch leaves, and if that's gone, it produces a different sound whenever you engage the clutch. Yeah, whenever you engage the clutch, it produces a different sound. Then there can be a pilot bearing sound. This pilot bearing is very close to the flywheel, and this produces a sound whenever you disengage the clutch, I guess. because whenever you remove your foot off the clutch pedal, you are essentially disengaging the clutch, and that's when the input shaft rotates along with the flywheel, and since your input shaft rests on the pilot bearing, the pilot bearing is the third thing that can create a weird sound effect. Right now it can be both. Since I'm disengaging the clutch by removing my foot off the clutch pedal, there can be two reasons why this sound is coming. Either your input shaft bearing is gone, you have to disassemble the whole gearbox and replace the input shaft bearing, and maybe if you are skilled enough, you can replace all the bearings and your gearbox would be all fresh. I will be trying that maybe. Then there is the pilot bearing that you can also replace to make your gearbox all new. Having said that, I have two options: either to disassemble the gearbox myself and try to replace the gear input shaft bearing, or get a new gearbox. Simple. I don't know what to do, but yeah, that's in my agenda. Thank you guys.